We made a choice, go fight against your fate. Pain will come with the pain. Pain will wake up the despondent crowd in this storming world somehow. Unsheath the sword not to kill. Unsheath the sword to end. Go clouds above the ground. Wake up, it's time to gather now. We have no way to know where they are headed for. See them right from afar, just blaze through the storm. We know it's right over there, something is there. Whatever is arriving, we'll be prepared. We made a choice, go fight against your fate. Pain will come with the pain. Pain will wake up the despondent crowd in this storming world somehow. Unsheath the sword not to kill. Unsheath the sword to end. Those clouds above the ground will come to hear the shooting sound. The way to celebrate, I'll be waiting till we make it. The day to celebrate, I'll be waiting till we make it. Oh, we will see. Come with me, take the journey. We will see. Come with me, take the journey.
Get rid of the press from the rusty time, those years. Don't stay in a daze looking for a sign. Slide and try. Run across fields of ice, but hidden in starlight. Be well aware of roads we've gone by. Put yesterday's aside, meet the future head on. Now trailblazers keep credos in mind. One, stop staying within the lines. Two, we always align. Three, even if we don't get the upper hand, we'll fight for right. Four, never care and report hindsight. Five, let us light the night. Six, even when there
trapped in biting wind. Hearts will never bleed, frozen and vanished out of greed. In their restless dreams, they try so hard to breathe. Pulses flutter and sting within this bleakness. They will come with the blade. They will wake up to despond and crown in this dormant world somehow. Unsheath the sword not to kill. Unsheath the sword to rend those clouds above the ground. Wake up, it's time to gather now. The only warmth remains in hands clasped so tight. The only fire exists in brave hearts. Seasons that refuse to change over the years will find their way back on track. We made a choice, go fight against your fate. They will come with the blade. They will wake up the despondent crowd in this dormant world somehow. Unsheath the sword not to kill. Unsheath the sword to rend those clouds above the ground. Wake up, it's time to gather now. We have no way to know where they are headed for. See them back on the fire, just blaze through the dark. We know it's right over there. Something is there. Whatever is arriving will be prepared. We made a choice, go fight against your fate. They will come with the blade. They will wake up the despondent crowd in this dormant world somehow. Unsheath the sword not to kill. Unsheath the sword to rend those clouds above the ground. Wake up to hear the cheering sound. The way to celebrate, I'll be waiting till we make it. The day to celebrate, I'll be waiting till we make it. Oh, we will see. Come with me, take the journey. We will see. Come with me, take the journey.
time, those years. Don't stay in a daze looking for a sign, starting dry. Run across fields of ice, but hidden inside light. Be well aware of roads we've gone by. Put yesterday's aside, meet the future head on. Now trailblazers keep credos in mind. One, stop staying within the lines. Two, we always align. Three, even if we don't get the upper hand, we'll fight for right. Four, never care and rip for hindsight. Five, let us light the night. Six, even when there are wills within, we'll go ahead. Get it pulverized.
专业人士教你成功妙招。第一，欠债还钱，天经地义耶。若要抵赖，加倍奉还。第二，彻底打消对方心存侥幸、自作聪明的念头。
哎呦，托帕小姐，巧了吗？这不是小小心意不成敬。
慢着，不是献殷勤，非奸即盗。
打开微信，搜索公众号“星际老男孩 SC Boy”， 这里有每日的直播预告、重要的赛事报道、精彩的视频剪辑、有趣的主播八卦、定期的抽奖福利以及爆笑的节奏和评论。关注 SC Boy 官方公众号，365天每天更新，让你与20万猛男一起更便捷的享受我和黄哥给大家带来的快乐。不要告诉别人哟。
And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our third broadcast of the day. Uh, we've had a lot of StarCraft today, but that's how our weekends go. Welcome back to the World Team League, WTL 2023 Winter Code S Round 6, day number 2. I'm, of course, host Light VIP, and with me, I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat, by the plushies, and, of course, by Kuro handling the production, as well as we have a day chock full of StarCraft. And up first, we have a best of 7. We have a Team League match between Team Liquid and Mystery Gaming. And not gonna lie, the tone feels so different. The tone feels so different with this chill music. Like a couple of weeks ago, it was like, you know, like some more like hype, like upbeat, like OST going on, and now it's hard to it's hard to hype it up. I mean, it's hard, but we'll do our best. We'll do our best to fight against the chill. As yeah, we do have our matches here before you. We're gonna be starting things off with Skillus versus Shin. Oh, that's better. This is what I wanted, Bobby. This is what I wanted. All right, Skillus versus Shin is up first, followed by a Laser versus Strange and Clem versus Bunny to end the best of 7 with a TVT. So, oh boy, quite an amount of matches here, and this is going to be an interesting one. Like, Mystery Gaming, I feel like they have been underperforming a little bit this season. They have yet to win a series despite having high caliber players like Shin, despite having players like Bunny. They have been struggling. They've gotten close. They have gotten close, but they've been struggling to take a series. Can they do it here and now against one of the stronger teams, against Team Liquid? I hope so. I hope that we can get a more back and forth, and I hope that Mystery Gaming can find their groove here in this winter season of WTL. I hope so anyway. Not up to me though, up to the players. We have a ZVP to begin with on Golden Aura. My oh my, we have casted a lot of ZVP on Golden Aura. I'm still a little bit scarred from yesterday. For those of you that were not here yesterday, I recommend checking out the VODs for a 2-hour-long best of 2 on this map between Serral and Estrella. But here we go. In the top left, we have Skillus for Team Liquid. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Shin from Mystery Gaming, aka Ragnarok. I still miss saying Ragnarok. I like the word. I like saying Ragnarok, and I still miss it. But, you know, Shin will have to make do here. Big shout out to the sponsors as well of WTL, Doyu, Honkai Star, Taido, and Autoful as well. Again, without these lovely sponsors, this would not be a thing. Shout out to Honkai Star, not just for being a gacha game, but also for their OST, because I'm sure a lot of people, they were jamming out in the chat earlier, listening to the music. I believe that is Honkai Star music. They've already got their fingers in. They've already got you hooked, Papi. So I gotcha. I gotcha. Be careful. Be careful. But also, big shout out. As we are getting into this, and so far, standard opener, Shin is forced to take the unnatural. Natural here against Skillus. Is going to be going for a hatch gas pool overall, so relatively standard economic opener. Likewise, Skillus is going for a gate expand into a cybercore, just being a little bit annoying with this probe, just being a little bit pesky, trying to force some inefficient mining here out of Ragnarok. So far, hasn't been able to though. Ragnarok has been able to keep up with the drone drilling, with the drone micro. And yeah, so far nothing too crazy yet. Not yet. Oh god. I'm still a little bit scarred. I'm still a little bit it's look, yesterday Sal versus Estrella. It was 2 hours. Oh my god. To wind it back a little bit, what was it? Game 2 was an hour long, and game 1 was what, 35 minutes? And it was even after that, when we were casting games this morning in KSL, not even in KSL, but even in ESL Masters, we had a lot of late game on Golden Aura, even in KSL as well, including players like Dark. Yeah, it just seems to be one of those maps. It seems to be a very easy map to split in half, to cut through the center, and to contain and to turtle as well. So hopefully we get something a little bit different. I want to believe we will. I want to believe we can, just because, of course, Shin is a much more aggressive player. He can play late game, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. He is one to be a lot more assertive instead. For now, we're just going to be joining up. It is going to be a Stargate opener. We have our Stargate as our tech of choice here for Skillus. Should be for an Oracle first, but we have options to go into a Void Ray or even a Phoenix as well. So we'll keep our eyes on Skillus for how he decides to open up and clear out the map, if at all. Ooh, as he's being quite annoying here with that pylon block. Now, for those wondering, this pylon block is designed to buy time for the Adept. The Adept is making his way across the map. A couple of probes are under threat. Good control out of skill as he does pull back just in time. The probes so far are surviving, and the Adept will make it in time, does get a kill on the drone, and will delay this third base. Ooh, very nicely done by Skillus. Again, it's something that you don't get to do too often, but if you can ever get that pylon up and running, you can get a second pylon as well. And oh my god, 2 probes go down. Ay. 2 workers did go down to those lings, and that does reciprocate some of the damage. And again, this has been a big delay though on the third base. The pylon finished actually, and we still do not have. Oh, we still don't have that third base. Observer just pointing out that actually the previous pylon wasn't cancelled, so we already killed one, and we're about to kill a second pylon. So this is actually quite a costly trade out of Skillus. The cancels would have been preferred in that situation. So a bit of a give and take here. You can see here 400 minerals lost because of the pros, because of the Adept, because of the pylon. But the third base has been delayed. So again, that give and take is real. Link's going for a big counterattack. We do not have a wall behind this. Okay. Pylon is thrown down. The Adept will survive, and Skillus will hold. And we have our first Oracle moving across the map. Second Oracle is on the way behind this as well. No Voidos for the time being. The Oracle is zoned away from the main base, heading towards the natural instead, where we have good drone control. Shin will keep his workers alive. But the Oracle only takes some shield damage. It only takes some shield damage. It's going to be racing back home, joining forces with the second... I say shield damage. A bit of hull damage, actually. But it's going to be joining forces with the second Oracle. We can one-shot workers, of course, from this point. We can wreak havoc in these bases. It's going to be on Shin to keep up with the movement of his opponent. We have a Spore in the main. We have a Spore here at the natural base as well. I was just pointing out that, of course, we have some delayed gas mining, but not the biggest of deals as it does get back up and running. And we have our transition. We have a Twilight Council and a Forge. Looks to be +1 and Blink. Could be Charge. That is another option, of course. But pretty standard play here out of Skillus, which is kind of what I expect from him. I say kind of just because I know that Skillus can be more of a unique player, a unique Protoss player in his own right, sometimes going his own way, taking his own path, but everything for the time being looks very standard here out of Skillus. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Behind this, the tech has been scouted, the Forge alongside the Twilight Council, so Shin, he knows he is safe to drone and take a 4th base. 4th is on the way, droning well underway here, and yeah, we're just settling into Golden Aura, really. Like, there's no signs of early game aggression, just harassment for now. And here we go, the Oracles are sharking around. They're actually diving for that 4th base. Oh my god, one of those Oracles taking a lot of hits already, and we shouldn't be able to get a kill. We shouldn't be able to get a cancel on this hatchery. It's going to be close, though. The Queens are waddling on in, but we may just force the cancel. And it looks like it will be cancelled, not killed, but that is a big delay once again on the bases here of Shin. Massive delay on that 4th base. Behind this, a Spire is thrown down, so I appreciate that Shin is kind of taking a different route. Does catch those Adepts. Oh my god. Okay, so we have a Spire and a Hydra Den on the way, actually. Revelation sees nothing, only the drones, does not see the tech, whether it's the Hydra Den or the Spire. Really interesting choice. We do have a +1 range on the way. So this tells us that Shin, he is planning on making mutas, maybe only like 7 to 8 mutas, just for map control, just to clean up and deal with some of the economy, and then transition into Ling Hydra from there. Maybe even hoping to force an overreaction. Meanwhile, once again, Skillus is here, and it will be losing an Oracle. Oh my god, playing with fire does lose an Oracle in the main base, but he's looking to force a cancel on that 5th, and he will barely not. 5th base will survive with barely any HP. It looks like we may have caught wind of that Spire. Phoenixes are on the way, Blink Stalkers as well. There it is, 9 mutas in production. Now, I don't expect any more than this. 9 mutas, that's more than enough to one-shot workers. That's more than enough to maintain control of the economy and be a nuisance across the map, especially with good control. And from here, there it is, Lurker Den is on the way, Hydras as well. We needed an extra zoom on that one. But yes, it is going to be Hydra Lurker Viper on the horizon. Mutas, of course, they're designed to buy some time, deal some economic damage, and give Shin the breathing room he needs to actually get into Lurker play, as he is quite vulnerable. He is very vulnerable at the moment with 0 Lurkers, barely any Hydras, no Roaches. If Skillus were to move out now, Shin would be in a lot of trouble. As we've been banking up those Phoenixes, and speaking of being in trouble, these Mutas, oh, they have done nothing so far. They go into the main base, they get stopped by these Phoenixes, and yeah, so far this is a big investment that has not paid off. Now, thankfully, Shin has kept all of his Mutas alive, so we can go in for a bit of a secondary assault in the second wave. As we are sharking around, looking to find a way in potentially to the third base. So far, we haven't found much of anything. We're at least containing Skillus here to his 3-base economy. Lunkers are on the way. Lair Tech Lunkers, at that you do love to see it. Hive is in production, but for now, we have to deal with what we have, and those Lair Tech Lunkers going to be putting in a lot of work here, trying to hold on against the eventual Colossus push. What's interesting about the build of Skillus is that he only went for a single Robo. He has a Bay, yes, and he's making Colossi, but he's making one at a time. So with that excess resources, he's going to be going into a Templar Archives, working towards Archons, and eventually Storm. Oh, nice Ling run by here, denying the 4th base. Very nicely done. I also have to imagine that we couldn't really afford a second Robo just because of all the Phoenixes that we made as well. Like, that was a big investment. So as a result, Skillus' ground army isn't as great and isn't as powerful as it otherwise would be. It is still lacking. Because that Skillus is stuck at home. You know, we're making a second Colossus. We got Charge on the way, +2 about to kick in. But there's no way for him to really threaten Shin. And that means that he is getting away with all these Lurkers. And so far, I believe it hasn't been scouted. Oh! Stasis Trap is going to be going off. 4th base should be saved. That Colossus getting in a lot of hits, a lot of swipes on those Lings. And again, I'm really concerned. We haven't scouted yet. Now, because we haven't seen the Lurkers, we aren't reacting to them, and there's no transition to Sky Toss, there's no Disruptors, no Immortals. At the moment, Skillus' army is subpar against Hydro Lurker Viper. We're still lacking. Skillus still needs to piece together what exactly is going on. Catching a couple of workers. Again, still not seeing those Lurkers. Catching workers, not seeing... my brain just paused for a moment there. But yeah, he's still in the dark. Still in the dark as to what exactly is going on, and Shin is maxed. Shin is maxed out at this point. He's getting ready to move out across the map with what he has. I'm not too sure if he has too many Vipers with his army. Yeah, we need to throw away these Mutas. They have served their purpose. Here we go. Mutas into the main base. The Lurkers pushing towards that third as well. Look at how vulnerable these Colossus are. Yeah, they're being zoned away, and this 5th base from Skillus is going to go down. Nice revelation here on these Lurkers. They are Lair Tech, of course. I believe they do not have range. Oh my god, but they're still within range of the Colossus. One Colossi does go down. We're actually able to trade decently well against the Lurkers, but regardless, the 5th base is going to fall. And there it is, finally. 2 more Stargates and a Fleet Beacon. But this is a late tech switch. This is a late reaction from Skillus. See Shin just slowly pushing him forward. Still maxed out. We have a Spire, a greater Spire on the way as well. And this is getting out of control. That base is taking a lot of hits. Nexus is getting lower, though. We have to push in. There's no other way about it, but alas, there's just too many Lurkers to push into. And we have to commit one way or another. We have to push forward. Hydras, they try to hold the line. The Zelts go down. The Archons as well. And it's just too much DPS. Pushing into a wall of Lurkers, never something you want to do. And Skillus loses almost his entire army. 2 Colossi and 4 Stalkers remain. And we still have more Lunkers. And the Hive upgrades have finished up. We do have some Tempest in production, but again, Tempest, they take a long time to produce. They have a pretty long or pretty high rate of fire as well, short rate of fire even. It'll take them a long time to actually work through all of this. And here we go, Shin just pushing on forward, getting on top of the base. The Nexus will go down. Skillus knocked down to 3 bases. And we want the Colossus. We get them. Both Colossi go down to the Hydras. And who needs Vipers? Oh, well, we do. 2 Vipers are made. GG gets called. And Shin will take game number 1. Even laughing to himself a little bit towards the end there. But yeah, really well done here out of Shin. When it comes to Skillus, if we want to be a little bit critical, Skillus, he was unable to scout. He was unable to realize what was going on. Remember, he did not start his fleet beacon and his stargates until there were already lurkers in his face. There were already lurkers pushing in across the map at his fourth base. That's when he threw down the tech, and again, it just shows us that he was woefully underprepared. He had no idea what Shin was doing. He was maybe assuming there were additional mutas on the way, maybe assuming that we were kind of taking in a different direction. Again, Skillus just was not ready for it. GG, well played, and yeah, with that, congratulations to Shin. Shin's Ragnarok? Yes, Shin is Ragnarok. As we're getting ready for game number 2, we have our map of choice. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Skillus, there are no vetoes in this system. No vetoes at all. Instead, we are going to be getting into Radisson Station. That is going to be loser's pick here for Skillus. And if we have I mean, again, like the idea here being to try to turtle on up, minimize losses, and get into the late game. We'll see if Skillus can pull it off. We'll see if Shin can stop it. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of Radisson Station, we have a Team Liquid, Skillus. And in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent for Mystery Gaming. It is Shin. Yeah, the ace player of Mystery Gaming. A world-class player at that. And he's going to be looking to, again, start off with a lead here for his series. This is also why Mystery Gaming have been struggling a little bit. Shin has been underperforming in a lot of these weeks, in a lot of these WTL matches. We expect Shin to come in with a strong 2-0, and if that doesn't happen, then it doesn't bode well for the rest of his team. He has to be there to kind of take charge and allow the rest of his team to follow suit as well. And it's been a bit of a struggle, but Shin looking damn good there in that first game, looking very comfortable as well. Again, completely unscouted. Skillus was not ready at all there for those lurkers. And now we're getting into our next game. And now that we're loading into Radisson Station, again, one of the big features of this map is that you do have a pocket base. You get a very well-fortified 3-base setup, and even a well-fortified 4-base setup at that. So you can be quite greedy, quite defensive, and very tech-heavy on a map like Radisson Station. And I expect Skillus to take full advantage of that. I'm curious if we're going to try to go for a different turn and just switch gears. We have seen a couple of Protoss players attempt to try to go against the grain and go for all-ins themselves or some crazy hidden tech. It's a risky thing to do, and I'm not too sure if Skillus is one to take that risk. Likewise, the pressure is going to be on Shin, as Shin is going to be going into a pretty fast third base from here. A very fast third base from Shin. It was a hatch gas pull into a fast third. Queens are on the way, but we are cutting lings here, just droning on up. So a bit of a greedier opener here out of Shin. And again, you do need to cut corners. You do need to be greedy as possible on Radisson Station, just to get that early lead. We can already see Skillus going to start mining through those middle patches in the back line. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that is a full wall off at the ramp. I believe there isn't enough room for, or maybe there is enough room for a unit. I know the Adepts are going to be spawning on the other side of the wall. Of course, Shin is a D.Va enjoyer. And oh my, okay, Shin, you have my attention. That is Overlord speed. Interesting. Okay, so typically Overlord speed this early on would signify something along the lines of, an all-in. But we haven't taken additional gases. We actually, I believe we don't even have link speed. I think this was, I could be mistaken, but I think this was Overlord speed first. And I think it's just to scout. I think it's just to get eyes on what Skillus is doing. We have been seeing a lot of fast pneumatized carapace on this map just to scout. The reason for this is because something like a fleet beacon rush is quite common. Like, we can go in a lot of different directions tech-wise as a Protoss. So a lot of Zerg players have been trying to keep up with that by rushing into Overlord speed and getting that scout off. Meanwhile, we have confirmation. Yep, we did get Overlord speed before link speed. And that could be a bit of a tell as to how Shin wants to approach this game. As in, they may want to just go straight into roaches or straight into hydras. saving that gas. Meanwhile, Overlord is diving into the main. Looks to be. Yeah, just patrolling over that Stargate. Just making sure we're aware of what we're working with as an Oracle is on the way. So again, really interesting tech path here for Shin. Just very scout heavy, very macro oriented, not very aggressive at all. Again, lane speed just now starting. Yeah, as we can see, it's a full wall off at this natural. And the Lings is slowly working on it as well. The Oracle forced to turn back around, forced to activate its Pulsar Beam. Because these are slow Lings, they will all be chased down for the most part. And Shinny confirms the timing of the of the Nexus. Oh, and we even have a Forge alongside a Twilight Council on the way as well. Pretty standard tech path. Interesting. Okay. So the tech path here isn't really too out of the norm. Skilless, he isn't rushing into Skytoss, which is something that we would typically see. He isn't going into a robo-heavy style either. As the Oracles come in, they can one-shot workers. 5 drones go down. Oh my god. 5 drones go down. Big amount of damage dealt here by Skilless. There it is, Robo now on the way. We've got +1 and Blink. Phoenix is going to shut down those Overlords, make it that much more difficult to scout. I believe that is the first Robo in production, so interesting choice here from Skilless. That is a pretty large gateway explosion, though. I'm curious if he's going to be taking his gases or not at the third base. I believe this is 8 gates in total. Yes, it is going to be 8 gates. So this looks like a 3-base all-in. I'm curious. There we go. A gas has been taken. If we didn't take the gases, then I would assume that it was just straight up a +1 blink all-in here from Skilless. But we're getting some mixed signals. We're taking up a little bit further. There it is. There's the War Prism on the way. And I'm sure Skilless is hoping that Ragnarok is being too greedy. That's another gateway, by the way. Oh my god. That's going to be 9 gates in total. So a very aggressive style here out of Skilless. It's very out of the norm. It's very kind of out of left field, but I do really appreciate it. It's a way to kind of use the meta against your opponent, if you will. It's very normal, very standard to be hyper greedy, and you can see that Shin, he's working on a Hydra Den, he's working on Infestation with a Hive Tech. Like, Shin is teching on up, he's droning as well, and he's not quite ready for an all-in. He's not ready for a push like this. As I say that, a couple of Stalkers have been caught out. 1 Stalker will go down. Skilless is taking a 4th base behind this, but I believe we have the War Prism with this army, and Skilless is pushing. And we'll see if he can break through. The 4th base is a sign that Skilless is already having second thoughts. He's already believing that maybe this won't be enough to kill his opponent. There we go. The second gas at the 3rd base is now being taken as well. And we are not pushing for the Hydras are holding on, and now we are transitioning. Now this is late tech. This is where now I'm concerned for Skilless. He built up towards this Stalker push. He had 9 gateways with his army on 3 bases. He was looking to hit a +1 timing, and he doesn't hit it. He backs off. He's working on a different step, and as a result, this Robo and this Robotics Bay and +2, all this, it's late. It's all late here for Skilless. This was never the original plan. 4th base is delayed as well, and it's taking a lot of hits. Oh my god. It's not going to go down to these Lings, but quite low nonetheless. And now I have to give Shin the edge. Now I have to say that Shin, he defended, he got away with his 4 bases, he got away with his Infestation bid, and now we have a Hive on the way. Hive and a Lurker Den. Skilless is in a bit of trouble. Skilless is in a bit of trouble at this point. He is getting into double Colossus production, but again, this is something that he could have already had, to be honest. He could have already had 2 and then working on his 3rd and 4th Colossus. He's working on a big power spike moment once he gets 4 Colossi out, but by the time he does, the Hive is going to be done, and Lurkers are already going to be out. Now, it looks like there was a hallucination or an Oracle scout into the main, and Skilless, he has identified the Hydra Den, so he should be aware of the eventual Lurkers coming out. Likewise, Shin has also been able to scout across the map as well. Has already been able to confirm what he himself is going to be facing. I do think we need to prioritize those Vipers, though. I know that last game Shin got away without them, but I feel like they're going to be crucial here going up against double Robo production. That's the difference. In Game 1, it was only a single Robo. Here in Game 2, double Robo. These lurkers are on the way. Likewise, Skill's going to be pushing out. Shin taking the gold. Working through those minerals, through those rocks. Expanding in the center of the map. Shin has to be very confident to be called out. Some of the lurkers are going to fall here. 2 of them go down here to the stalkers. Very nice movement out of Skillus, and Shin gets caught off guard. Did not see the army. Didn't know where it was. A rough start for Shin. He is about to max out, but half his army is out on the map. And he's going for a doom drop into the natural, or into the pocket base. Let's go. Doom drop into the third. Meanwhile, the lurkers are back at home to defend. They are looking a little bit exposed, though, and we have to commit. There is detection. Lurkers will be backing off, but Shin, he has to stand. He has to fight. He has to try to hold on. But we dive on top of the lurkers. There just isn't enough to protect them. At the same time, a massive ling drop into the third base is going to be annihilating that mineral line. Okay, the stalkers, they go down to the lurkers, but only one lurker survives. And Skillus has to keep on pushing. At this point, he's losing his economy. He has to commit. Shin is down to 1 lurker. I say that he's got a second lurker here on the front lines. Clutch transfuse. Yeah, and Skillus attempting to push up this ramp. He cannot. As the pocket base goes down. So will the gold, but the gold not too impactful. Not the most important base here for Shin. As Lings, they do slip into the main. They've already killed a mineral line. They're looking for another. But they will be cleaned up. So we're going to be trading a base for a base. Shin did lose a very large army. That was 8 lurkers going down. And he did not kill... He killed a lot of stalkers, that is true, but he didn't kill any of those colossi. That's why I was really concerned about the lack of Vipers. And Vipers, they play a pivotal role in this kind of army composition. In this dynamic. And we'll see if we can get there. For now, Ling Ramai just going to be distracting Skillus, pulling him back home, keeping him busy. There it is. Vipers are in production. And once we get those Vipers out, there's not too much to stop them. Obviously, I mean, the Stalkers could try to dive in. But Shin will have a much easier time dealing with this army. Nidus Worm on the way as well. There are Overlords sharking around that pocket base. Could try to go for a Nidus. Until then, though, Skillus is stabilizing. He is stabilizing, he's recovering, recouping his losses. Probing up. And I believe he's up to 4 Colossi. Doesn't have any Disruptors yet. That's what I'm a little bit concerned by. No Disruptors, no Storm. Archons and Colossi are the only splash damage that we have available. I could be mistaken. There is one High Templar that we may have Storm available. I didn't see it being researching earlier, but I may have missed it. May have missed it. But I'm not too sure if we have any because, yeah, every time we morph in High Templar, we're just morphing them into Archons. Yeah, we're not really saving any with energy. Here we go. Skillus once again looking to push towards that goal base. Shin in position. Has been spotted. Here we go. Skillus, we're going to collapse on this army, and I don't think we can fight without the Vipers. And here we go. We are pushing towards that gold. The Hydras are going down already. Shin caught out of position. Vipers are pushing on forward, and it may just be too late. Decent blinding clouds. We do yoink in one of the Colossus. Oh my god, the spines are going ham. But only 2 lurkers do survive. That was an expensive loss here from Shin. Losing a base and another 9 lurkers and 3 Vipers. Every Viper just went down. A good trade for Skillus. He only lost 1 Colossus when it comes to the high-tech units. Archons as well, but we can afford to lose Archons. That's fine. Skillus, he has quite a threatening army, pulling the boys here to deal with this Nidus, recalling back home even. Big reaction. Nidus will go down. No, one of the lurkers comes out, but there's no detection. Oh my god. Lurker's gonna be wreaking havoc in the main. cannon is on the way. And Skillous can't quite push in, so Shin, he's actually going to be able to harass. He sends a couple of lurkers here and there into the main towards the 5th base. Looking to get a lot of economic damage done. Meanwhile, Skillous, he's had enough. You can see his army movement. He's just pushing through the center. We have 1 Viper. We had 3, but again, they all went down in the last fight. 1 Viper left here for Shin. He has to make it count. And here we go. We're pushing on forward. The Viper is not here. It's not ready. The lurkers once again are exposed, and so many of them are going down to these Archons, or with the reinforcements coming, we do get on top of the Colossus. Where's the buffer? Where's the support? It's still such a close fight. Skillous barely pushing through. The Viper now coming in, but it may just be too little too late. It just wasn't ready, did not have the energy. Oh, we get 1 yoink. And the Colossus does not go down. No shot. It survives for now, but here we go. We come in with reinforcements, with Lings, with Hydras. We take down 2 Colossi. We want the last one. There's 1 left. 1 Colossus left, and it looks like it will go down. Big pickoffs here for Shin. And that is what he needed. For the last, 3 big fights? Those 3 Colossus, they've been living throughout all of them. And finally they go down, and that is a big blow to Skillous. These are units that he has been preserving the entire game, and now they are no more. And now Shin is going to have a much easier time defending against this Groundtoss army. Lunkers, they're going to be so dominant in these fights. Charge Dog's going to be pushing on forward. Going to try to engage, but the wall of lurkers has been rebuilt. Oh, do we get a Zealot drop into the natural? Do we have detection available? It looks like we do. We do have that observer. Drones are going down, but Zealots will eventually be hunted down by these Hydras. Skill's going to be rotating over to the top left. That is 5 observers. 5 observers with the main army. Ay, ay, ay. Blinding Clouds are thrown down. The Immortals, they go down instantly. And yeah, Skillous, he's just ramming himself against a brick wall. Without those Colossus, without the splash damage, he just cannot break through. You can see him shaking his head there on cams. Skillous, he's not feeling good about this. He has lost his momentum, lost his opportunity. Did not attempt to go into Sky Toss. He's been fighting against these lurkers the entire game, and to be fair, he was doing well. He was almost breaking through, but he was so persistent when it came to not throwing down a Flea Beacon and not getting into Sky Toss. He had plenty of time, plenty of opportunity. He made the choice to just commit to Ground Toss instead, and he wasn't looking too bad. To be fair, like I don't want to hop on him too much, because he was trading well for a long time there, but he could only do so for so long. Each of those fights was just on a knife's edge. And again, you lose your Colossi, you lose everything else. And here we go, we're pushing on in. Archon's gonna, they just cannot engage, not into all these lurkers. The lunkers, Bappy, there's too much. We're just zoning Skillous away from his own natural base. And more lurkers gonna be engaging. Oh my god, and the ground army just gets annihilated. And there's almost nothing left. GG gets called, and Shin will take the series 2-0, taking down Skillous. Shin looking happy there, and this is a Shin that I haven't seen in a while. I mentioned before, but it does feel like he's been underperforming in WTL, and he's been taking a lot of losses in World Team League. It's good to see him coming back here. Good to see him coming into his own, and yeah, with that, GG, well played. Mystery Gaming, they do start off with a bang, with a win, but can they keep it up? Because Shin, of course, he's the ace player. He is the favorite player in Mystery Gaming, and he's expected to come out strong. But what about the rest of the team? Up next, a Laser versus Strange. Oh boy. Alazer, of course, being one of the best Zerg players in Europe, he's definitely up there alongside, you know, your Raynor and your Serral. I would probably say that Alazer is top three Zerg. I think I would rate him slightly above Lambo. I do think that maybe Alazer and Lambo are interchangeable, and you can make arguments for who's third and who's fourth in Europe. But they are, regardless, some of the best that Europe has to offer. And Strange, he's, again, got more to prove here. He's not a bad player by any means, but it does feel like he's a step below Alazer. So he's going to have to really turn it on, really come in swinging here to take down a player of the caliber of Alazer. Best of luck. Best of luck. I'm hoping for a solid series, for a solid best of two. Until then, we're going to be going on a short break. Short break. When we return, we will have our next ZVP. See you soon. And welcome back again. Short break. Look, it's hit and miss whether or not we get a lot of time or not. So, short break here, but we are back already with our next best of two. It is going to be Alazer versus Strange. Game 1 is predetermined, and game 1 is on Radisson Station. Oh boy, and this is going to be an interesting one. Strange, from what we've seen before, I do think that he's one to embrace the sky just a little bit more on this map, but we'll see as we get into this. In the bottom left-hand corner, for Team Liquid, we have Alazer. And spawning in the top right-hand corner for Mystery Gaming, it is Strange. Go to the ZVPs on Radisson Station. They do continue. And yeah, it's just a really interesting thing that we saw in that last game. Skillus, after identifying and being fully aware of the Lurker, the Hydra Lurker Viper composition of his opponent, Skillus, he was just, again, refusing to transition, refusing to take up, whether it's getting into Disruptors and a second Robo, or, I mean, he had 2 Robos, whether it's getting into Disruptors or Storm, or, again, working towards Skytoss. Skillus, he wanted to break his opponent then and there, and again, he wasn't doing too badly. Like, he was initially trading well. He was killing a lot of Lurkers. It was crazy. So many Lunkers were going down, but it was still like rough trades for Skillus. He wasn't trading for free or anything like that. He was losing a lot of units every time he engaged, and yeah, it just wasn't enough to break his opponent. I do hope that Strange takes a different approach. I do hope that he is more willing to embrace the late game if we head in that direction, and I'm sure we will. Alazer, when it comes to the rest of the European Zerg players, I feel like Alazer is the one that's the most willing to be insanely greedy and, yeah, embrace that kind of 80 worker hive tech late game here on Radisson Station. We'll see. We'll see if that's the case. For now, Hatch Gas Pool. Hatch Gas Pool out of our Zerg player. Standard opener. Likewise, Strange going for a gate expand into Cybercore. Are you saying it'll be a strange one? I'm saying that I hope it isn't a strange one. I feel like the Skillus series was more strange than not. I'm hoping that Strange is willing to embrace, you know, the standard, the late game, the sky toss. We'll see. We'll see if that's going to be the case. For now, Stargate opener, as to be expected. Stargate first. This should be for an Oracle. We'll see if Strange mixes it up and goes for a Void Ray first. Both are viable in their own ways. Probe is going to get shut down. And we'll see how many corners we cut. We'll see how greedy we become. Again, going to be a Stargate first for the time being. And we should be seeing Strange working towards that pocket base, mining through those minerals. By this point, we already saw that Skillus would have already been working on those mineral patches, so we can throw down the Nexus. That is something that Strange hasn't quite started on, not yet. And oh, it is not going to be a Void Ray first. It's not going to be an Oracle first. It is going to be a Phoenix. Okay, interesting. Phoenix has a similar role to the Void Ray, where you can shut down these overlords and, of course, deny scouting information, deny vision. As the observer just pointed out, we still haven't started working on the third, which is odd. It is odd that we haven't started working on that base. We have a second Phoenix on the way. I'm curious if we're going to be throwing down a second Stargate and going Mass Phoenix. This is a pretty big investment, and Phoenixes, they have a role to play. They're great at not just clearing up overlords, but also they're great at getting economic damage done, at diving into bases and crowd controlling those queens. There it is, third Phoenix on the way as well. Part of me wishes that this was like the Patty Mac opener, and we go Phoenix Glaive Adept, and it's going to be Phoenixes into a Robo, not a Twilight Council. Okay. Well, this is strange. this is a strange one. I must say. Okay, okay, now it's making more sense. We have a Forge on the way. So we're going Mass Phoenix from map control. The purpose of this is to gain map control, to keep a laser on the back foot, to try to cripple the economy. With this Forge and Robo, this is very tech heavy. Now, I kind of don't like this. I feel like you can do this with a faster third base on Radisson Station. I feel like the way that Strange is playing this out, it feels very... Yeah, it feels like he's not taking advantage of the map itself, just because it's going to take a while for the upgrades and the Robo production to really kick in. And it helps if we do have a fast third. There it is, Immortal Productions commencing. We have a Gateway Explosion. With these 2 additional gateways on the way, it looks like Strange isn't expanding. I don't think he's going to take a third. Otherwise, we should have seen it by now. We should have seen a third base. Yep, there we go. More gateways. It's a 2-base all-in. 2-base all-in coming out from Strange. Sentries are on the way. This is going to be a very Parting-esque all-in, very Soul Train-esque, with Immortals, Sentries, and +1. Is it going to take too long, though? Because I imagine we're going to be waiting for +1 as well. Spire's being thrown down. A laser. It looks like he's misreading this. With the Spire tech, it looks like a laser believes that Strange is going to be getting into Sky Toss. Ay. This is huge. I actually really like this. Like Strange, because he's been shutting down all these overlords, a laser has no idea. A laser has no idea that there isn't a third base. We have a Spire on the way. Now a Roach Warren. The Roach Warren will help. The Roach Warren is very crucial in this situation. 7 drones get picked up. So a laser, he is making sure he's covering his bases, but the Roach Warren is very delayed. That was what, a 6 or a 540 Roach Warren? It's very late in the end. Corruptors will not help. Lings are trying to scout. They get eyes on... There we go, the sentries. Not the biggest tell. They see 1 sentry. We got a force field? Oh, okay. That's a bigger tell. There we go. Additional sentries have been revealed, and we should be making roaches. A laser is piecing this together. And here comes the all-in. 44 probe all-in. Mutas are on the way, and corruptors as well. I'm concerned. No roaches. 5 roaches now in production, but we have a massive ground army, and this is going to be a close hold for a laser. There we go. It has been scouted. Ling does confirm the all-in coming his way. The Prism has arrived. There is potential with the mutas to maybe bypass the army and get on top of the War Prism. The Queens are coming forward. More roaches in production as well. No Ravagers, which means force fields are going to be king. There's no way to deal with those force fields. 2 Ravagers now being morphed in, but 2 Ravagers, is that going to be enough? We got the mutas coming from behind. Again, they want that Prism. And they will get it as well. War Prism will go down. No more reinforcements. Big pickoff. And Strange, he's banking up resources. He needed that War Prism. He needs those reinforcements. 6 more Stalkers are on the way. Decent force fields. A laser, he has the gold. It's so greedy. Gold base has been taken. Decent force fields as well. Once again, picking up a couple of roaches. But we need some urgency here. We need to get on top of the army. Wiles are going to be connecting with the Stalkers. Without reinforcements, this is going to be a tight hold here. Yeah, Stalkers are falling left and right. Nice CC on those Ravagers, but we are running out of steam. A laser pushes on forward, and he will clean this up. Gets on top of the first immortal, getting on top of the second as well. And Strange, if only he had that War Prism. I do believe that if he had that Prism, he would be able to break through, but he has lost all of his high-tech units. 10 sentries, 2 immortals. He did overextend as well, pushing in between the bases. And now a laser is looking to run away with it. This gold base may be forfeits, but a laser does need the gold. He's on 70 workers, pumping out roaches, and he may even save the gold base. Oh my god. Yeah, we're just committing. Gold base is going to be saved. The War Prism has now been remade. We still have a decent Stalker count. Army supply for laser is inflated. We will get a kill on the gold, but again, we need more than that. Across the map, probes are going down, I think, to the mutas. They were still alive. 6, 7, 8 probes, 9 probes even going to be going down across the map. Strange, he was all in before, now he's even more all in, if that were ever to be possible. There's no turning back around. GG is going to get called. No final fight. Oh my. A laser actually having a big sigh of relief there. I don't blame him. Again, a laser, he had no idea what was happening. He had no idea what was going on. But he was able to make some magic happen with his army. The mutas were honestly clutch. Initially, I believed that the mutas were a mistake. And I do believe that if the Warp Prism was well defended, but we saw that it was exposed, it went down, and a laser cleaned it up. GG. GG, well played. Again, I love the all-in out of Strange. Again, it was unscouted. It did catch a laser off guard. You can see him smiling there on cams as well. I think he's probably admitting, like saying that he had no idea what was happening, and he probably felt like he was going to die. But alas, he was able to pull off the defense, and now Strange back to the drawing board. What do we whip out this time against a laser? It's going to be on Oceanborn. Regardless of what it is, the map has been chosen. Oceanborn, an interesting one. Okay, so an Oceanborn, I do think is another good map for something like an all-in. You can get a pretty secure 3-base setup. Unlike Radisson Station, it is far more difficult to deny scouting information, so we should be seeing a 3rd base out of Strange. We may even see a Twilight Council opener, actually. I wouldn't be opposed to that on a map like this. Curious. I'm curious. Here we go. I predict I'll be the only prediction. Smurge, Pappy, Smurge. But here we go. We're loading in and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have for Team Liquid, a laser. And in the top left, we have for Mystery Gaming, the red Protoss. It is Strange. Again, I appreciated the build overall in game number 1, but the execution was where we were lacking a little bit. Again, we were wasting and spending a lot of force fields really early on, force fields that were finite. On top of that, the Warp Prism was exposed, which went down, and we even just overextended, pushing a little bit too far onto creep, which did allow ourselves to be surrounded. So, yeah, again, the execution overall was again lacking a little bit, but hopefully we can bring it all back here. Personally, I would love to see a 1-1. I would love to see a back and forth series between Mystery Gaming and Team Liquid. We'll see if Strange can pull it off. We'll see what kind of build we get as well. After game 1, I feel like Strange, he set the tone. I feel like he has set the tone. As for now, Hatch Gas Pool. Hatch Gas Pool out of a laser. Everything looking as it should. Is able to take the natural as well. So a pretty standard setup overall. And we're going to be just getting into our game. Nothing crazy in the early game. No proxies, no fast roach warren or bane bust or anything crazy like that. None of the sorts. We don't need that. It's all good. Tis all good. And I was alluding to it earlier. We still have to wait for our tech of choice once the Cybercore finishes, but part of me would love to see something like a Twilight Council opener. But because the laser was able to take his natural, it won't be as effective as it otherwise would if it was forsake kind of a stranger expansion pattern. But there it is. It is still a Stargate. Now, this time, I can't imagine it's going to be Phoenixes, or if it is, only one. Right? You make one Phoenix, you clear up the Overlord, and you make it look like you're going Mass Phoenix again, when really you just shift gears and get into an Oracle, get some economic damage done. I'm curious. There are different ways to play this out. I always love it when, if a player cheeses one game, in game number 2, they make it look similar enough to, like, kind of incept your opponents a little bit and make them a little bit more wary about what's going on, and then you go into something completely different instead. But it is going to be an Oracle first, not a Phoenix. So a much more standard opener out of Strange. He's looking for economic damage instead. Overlord is going to be caught out by this Stalker. Is going to be shut down. But outside of that, the first Oracle is going to be making its way across the map. Should be getting into a third base from here. Should be getting into a much better economy. Compared to the previous game. Never mind. Before we throw down the third base, that is a Twilight Council and 2 more gateways. This is looking like Glaive Adepts. Oh my. I believe that is 5 gates in total. There's 3 gates on the way, and I think there were already 2 gates at the natural. Okay, never mind. It's going to be 4 gates. 4 gates in total. There's a third base now being thrown down, but the third has been delayed. Delayed in favor of Glaives. And there it is. Glaive Adepts are on the way. Now, this is a very interesting variation. Something that I've only seen Strange do. Actually, I first saw Strange doing it, and I've seen a couple of other Europeans embrace it as well. And this is going to be Glaive Adepts, but without a Robo. There's no Robo here. We're just warping them in back at home. Stasis Trap going to be going off, catching a Queen. Also, I misspoke completely. I have seen Strange go for Glaive Adepts without a Robo, but that's I'm talking about a Twilight Council Glaive Adept opener instead of a follow-up. My mistake. Like, I just woke up. Regardless, we have a Glaive Adept follow-up. We do have Lings already going to be punishing this third base, and the Adepts are going to have to reveal themselves. Ay. Adepts are going to shave off a lot of those things already. They do protect the base, but the Adepts have revealed themselves. Roach Warren is on the way. It is a late Roach Warren, but it is going to be on the way nonetheless. Lings are racing back home. We'll see if we can keep up with the Adepts. The goal here for Strange is to get economic damage done to transition after this. We have a Forge and a Robo on the way for +1, soon to be Blink. Queens are under heavy fire. 1 Queen goes down. Lings are being completely shut down as well, but we haven't dealt any economic damage, not yet. But now we finally are. The first drone has fallen. A lot of lost mining time. And Strange is going to be able to maintain control of the natural. Doesn't quite commit to the shade into the main. As we do get a little bit of latency there. But overall, the Adepts, they again are forcing a little less mine time here at the natural base. Ling's going to be coming in to eventually clean this up, and we're not killing too many drones. Oh, as again, I think we're still experiencing some latency issues. No. So for those wondering, we're casting from the clean feed, and the clean feed is struggling. No, not like this. I recommend maybe refreshing as we're getting a bit. Oh, so we go. We are getting back into this again. The Adepts, they did end up staying here at the natural base. Ling's going to be coming in to clean things up as well. They dive on the Adepts themselves, and they will be falling. Oof. But yeah, the clean feed is indeed struggling, and yeah, everyone just letting them know. Oh god. as it is struggling a little bit, but we're slowly getting back into it every now and then. As yeah, the left stage will get cleaned up. Can we swap to the dirty feed? Well, that's the problem, right? So look, the clean feed is usually clean, but now it's getting dirty, Pop. It's getting dirty. Oh. Wash it. But here we go. It looks like we have found ourselves back in this, and we're going to be transitioning back at home. The adepts have been cleaned up. We have a couple of sentries being warped in. We have a decent defensive setup here. Force field is thrown down. The sentries, they do manage to defend themselves. Looks like we are back in this. Ooh, latency has been cleaned up. Thank God. And I do feel like a laser's in a better position. We didn't really kill too many workers. I know that there was some, there was some frame drops and we didn't quite get to see everything smoothly, but there wasn't really too much economic damage done. As a result, a laser, he maintains his worker count. He's on 75 drones. He's getting a 5th base, a 4th, and a 5th base even, getting into roach production. Strange is working on that next step, but this is the problem of going for a glaive adept opener, is that it delays everything else. We talk about this all the time. If you're going into glaives after a 3rd base or after a Stargate, it means you have late +1, late blink, late robo production. Everything has been delayed, and as a result, Strange is stuck at home. He's stuck at home, and a laser, he can be as greedy as he wants. Now, because of all these sentries, it looks like Strange is actually working on the next step. Oh, the Stalkers, they don't have blink. 2 of them go down already. We dive on the army, we force out some force fields. Wasting that energy only on Lings. Very nicely done. I was about to say that because we have so many sentries, it looks like Strange wants to go for one big push on 3 bases, and he is. We have a Prism on the way and 2 more gateways. The problem is that, again, we have that much less energy to work with. A couple of Stalkers went down, and the laser does see the army. He does spot the move out. The laser's done droning. He's on 82 workers. That's it. No more droning for the rest of the game. We're done at this point. We are done at this point. It looks like we have sped up a little bit. And here we go. We have the major fight going on here as Stalkers are going to be pushing on forward. The Ravagers are going to be going down one after the other. Strange not having a bad engagement, but you can see that he's running out of steam. He lost his Immortals, lost his Sentries. He only has Stalkers left. Oh, so we've actually jumped up ahead again. Oh, I'll catch up. So again, in what was just missed on the stream, we did have a bit of a skirmish back and forth, but because Strange lost so much momentum, he actually did have to turn back around. He lost his sentries, lost his immortals, and he has to retreat. Meanwhile, a laser is maxing out. He is getting to the point where he is, again, at that ideal worker count. He's just building up his forces, getting to that 200 army supply. Hive is done, Adrenal is on the way, and Strange is now transitioning. But because he was so committed earlier, once again, this transition is late. As you can see on the production tab, we have a second robo, a Bay on the way. We're trying to work towards Colossus and Disruptors, but it's too late. It's too late at this point. A laser is looking to push, and Strange is still working on a mid-game army. Yeah, it's going to be a cancel in the 4th base. We do have some sentries, do have some force fields. Oh my. We had some force fields, but they get knocked down immediately. Oh my god. Sentries for the Immortal as well, and we're pushing towards the 3rd base. Overcharge is going to be respected. The overcharge pops off, and we will have to back off in the end. So Strange, he's holding onto his 3 bases, but he is running out of money. He's been only on 3 bases for the past 10 minutes. Getting into Disruptors as we speak. 2 Disruptors at a time. Now, is there a world where we can come back? Disruptors, they are the great equalizer. You know, you can be down in supply and still win a fight. That is true. But we're down, what, 70, 60 supply? Oh, that's a lot of army supply, Bobby. That's a lot. Ultra Cavern is done. We dive on top of the Nexus. Oh my god, that's going to be a kill, not a cancel. Nova goes off, does connect with those Ravagers. But the Disruptor is going down. Now with these Lings reinforcing, a laser can finally get on top of the army. Cleans up the Zealots. Nova, oh my god, a very juicy Purification Nova. We couldn't get any better than that, but it just still goes to show how far behind we are because it still isn't enough. Disruptors are being camped. The production is being camped. Another good Nova goes off, but we push into the third base. We break the army. GG gets called. And a laser will take the 2-0. GG, well played. A laser will take a 2-0 here, and with that, he ties it up. He does tie it up for Team Liquid. And we are tied up 2-2. It all comes down to this. It all comes down to a TVT between Clem and Bunny. Oh my. It's gonna be a spicy one. Obviously, Clem is the ace player of Team Liquid. He is gonna be coming in as the heavy favorite. Bunny on the other side, not a bad player in his own right. I do actually believe that Bunny can take it to Clem, but it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be an uphill battle. Best of luck. We're gonna be going on a short break. When we return, we'll have that TVT. See you soon. Oh, wait, no, wait, never mind. No break. The players are ready, and we're getting into that game. Clem, of course, with a pretty hefty ELO of his own. Bunny looking a little bit rough here. He has been having some decent performances so far in WTL. Oh, and now we see why we didn't have a break and why things were wrapping up quite quickly here. It looks like it's a replay cast. And here we go. In the top left, offside Delta, we have Clem for Team Liquid. And spawning in the bottom right, we have his opponent for Mystery Gaming. It is Bunny. Let's go. For those wondering, if we ever get a game like this, where it takes very little time to actually set up and get into the game, and if there aren't any cameras involved, it's most likely a game that was played earlier. This does occur if one of the players is maybe unavailable. Maybe Clem is playing tonight in ESL Masters Europe, or maybe Bunny is unavailable in the evening. So it looks like they played it out maybe today, maybe yesterday. And of course, we are not privy to the outcome of this series. Only the players know. Only Clem and Bunny. And yeah, here we go. So unfortunately, we won't have any player reactions. Unfortunately, feels bad, man. But we still have a very high quality TVT nonetheless. It's the best of 5, best of 7. Best of 7. Yeah, for those wondering, you may not be. For those who aren't familiar with the format, overall it's a best of 7 between the two teams, which means first to 4 wins. If this is a 2-0 in either direction, that will be the end of the series. If it's a 1-1, then we get an ace match, and the ace match is going to be a best of 1. Also, just to make sure there's no confusion, it's a best of 7 comprised of best of 2s. So this is a best of 2 between Clem and Bunny, so it could either be a 2-0 or a 1-1. Those are the only outcomes. And for now, we do have some pretty economic openers, some pretty mirrored builds. Both players are going for Rax Expands. We have the Rax on the low ground, only a single gas opener, so very economic builds here from both Clem and Bunny. You love to see it. Do love to see it. Yeah, all good, all good. Thank you, Complete, for clearing it up in the chat. All good. And yeah, from here, again, just very economic openers. The early game is going to be quite chill between both these players. Reaper's going to be staying at home. We don't want to risk losing it and sending it out on the map. And we now have our first kind of diversion point here between our players. Bunny going for a much faster factory into that Cyclone. Okay. To have that cycle production well underway. I believe Bunny actually delayed his CC a little bit in favor of the factory, which is why Clem actually has a faster orbital compared to Bunny. So slight deviation. Overall, very economic. Again, these Cyclone openers are quite commonplace in TVT nowadays. Cyclones are just such a Versatile units in the early game. They can shut down a lot of early game aggression and harassment when it comes to Hellions and Reapers and even Banshees. So they are pretty stock standard at the moment in TVT. And we're only making only a single cyclone for either player as we are transitioning. And Bunny is going for a more traditional form of TVT. We have a Raven production and Interference Matrix on the way. Now we have seen in this new patch, oh my god! Never mind. I was going to say in this recent patch, we have seen some players embrace and other players just kind of turn their back on the new Raven and the way that it works with the new upgrade. Clem throws down a very fast third CC. Very greedy, very economic, typically ill-advised to throw one down this early on. We'll see if Clem can get away with it, and we'll see if Bunny can punish him and get a read on what's going on. And we can go one of two ways. Either Bunny recognizes what's going on, he can be aggressive and he can try to take control of the third base location and deny the third being landed and get his own on location instead. Or we could even just commit to a big all-in. Like, this early interference matrix is going to be a pretty huge upgrade for Bunny. You can see that Clem hasn't researched his own upgrade, and that's intentional. There is still value to be had in a Raven with auto turrets and with an anti-armor missile. But the reality is that Bunny is going to have a lot more utility with his army. And there we go, he throws down his own third CC far later than that of Clem. So this tells us that Bunny is not going for a two-base all-in. He has a lot of potential with his forces, with his Ravens. And he may move out, but by no means does he intend to push into the natural and end the game. As there we go, it's going to be Tank Viking from Bunny. Instead of Tank Viking, Clem is going for a more bio-heavy composition. We have additional Raxes. Stim is on the way alongside a +1 attack as well. So a much more mobile composition. Clem from here should not be getting into Viking, should be getting into Medivacs. We get a scan into the main base, does reveal how late the CC is. Clem has to focus, of course, on his defenses back at home. Did see both Raxes, of course. It is Biotank. And Bunny is going to be moving out. I mentioned this before, that Bunny isn't really intending to like be overly aggressive, but he needs to take control of the third base location. Just because of how late his own third is, he needs to make sure that Clem has a hard time expanding and actually making use of his third CC. Stim, it is within range. Oh my god, can we deny? This is going to be huge. The tanks they siege up, they're within range of the production, and Stim is going to be denied just in time. Bearing in mind that Clem, he doubled down on Marine production. He has a massive amount of Marines, and suddenly they're that much weaker. Suddenly they are vanilla Marines without Stim. Ay, ay, ay. Big pig off here from Bunny. As he unsieges, he backs the hell off. And Clem can't do his timing anymore. Bunny actually getting with it. Where's the tanks? Clem out of position. We can take down the bunker. We're not going to be threatening the base itself, but the bunker does go down. Liberator getting within range, and Bunny, he can keep pushing. He can push further in. We can see Clem trying to set up a surround, coming in from behind, but there is no Stim. The boys are being pulled. They have to. Auto turrets are being thrown down. Disables as well. Oh my god. 32 SCVs go down. This is far too much damage, and Bunny is snowballing out of control. GG gets called. Bunny takes game number 1. Oh my god. Clem just... One, it was unfortunate that, of course, his Stim was denied. But two, he was out of position. He wasn't able to keep up with the movements of Bunny. Did not see the rotation coming to his natural. He wasn't ready for it, and just like that, in one swift move. And again, Bunny wasn't all in. Like, he had a third CC on the way. He had the rest of his production, upgrades as well. Like, he was working on the next step. He just saw an opportunity. He went for it. Meanwhile, on the bottom right, Clem for Team Liquid. And spawning in the top left, we have his opponent for Mystery Gaming, Bunny. Let's go. And just like that, if Bunny takes game number 2 here, that's going to be the end of the series, and that is going to be the first win for Mystery Gaming. Meanwhile, Clem, he needs to fight back here and now to force the ace match. Here we go. But again, really decisive play out of Bunny. That's maybe the the most apt way of describing that previous game. Just very decisive play out of Bunny, just seeing opportunities and just pouncing on them immediately. And yeah, Clem, he was just having a hard time at keeping up. Ooh. And getting punished for a much more economic opener. Meanwhile, let's go. Clem is going for a 2-Rax opener. This makes sense. He is up against a Korean Terran player, and because Bunny has a lead, basically Clem believes he's going to be proxied. So if you're curious, a 2-Rax opener like this out of Clem hard counters proxy racks. So he believes that Bunny may be going for a proxy 2-Rax himself, and this is just a secure way to completely shut it down. You can also be a little bit aggressive with this as well, but like that's the purpose of this build from Clem. Just very safe, gives you map control early on. You're going to be able to be aggressive with your own Reapers. SCV Scout is coming in and should get eyes on what Clem is up to. Not quite, as we do wall off. So Bunny's in the dark, and Bunny is going for an economic opener. He went for a Rax expand, so Clem can actually punish him. Clem can punish Bunny here. With these Reapers he can get across the map, he may be able to delay the CC on the low ground. Oh boy. If Bunny had gone for a double gas opener into Rax Factory, I would have favored Bunny. But because he went for an economic opener, there's an opportunity here for Clem. There is an opportunity. As Bunny's just looking for proxies. He's just checking the linear 4th base. As Clem is pushing behind this. Clem, he doesn't throw down the CC. He delays the CC in favor of a factory. So very aggressive opener here from Clem. Isn't all in. He will be expanding. Just a delayed expansion. Very delayed here from our French Terran. Our blue Terran even. Meanwhile, the Reapers, they have arrived. Bunker is on the way. And the Reapers are being zoned away. The bunker will finish in time, but can we make it to the bunker? Oh, we cannot. Yeah, Bunny's being zoned away. The CC will complete just in time. 2 SCVs go down. And Clem, he bypasses the bunker. He goes straight for the main base. Hellion is still a couple of seconds away. And how many more SCV kills can we get? We get 3 SCVs. We're going to be up. Barely not getting the 4th. It's so close. And the Hellion does arrive. With the help of the Hellion, we should clean this up. The Marines make it in as well. A bit of miscontrol out of Bunny, actually. Overextending with that Hellion. And this is getting a bit out of hand. Yeah, too many SCVs are going down now. To be fair, Clem, he needed to get some SCV damage because of how late his CC is. And finally, Bunny does regain control of his main. Clem, he is up 2 workers. He's up 2 SCVs, but his CC still isn't done, and it is still not an orbital either. So, economically, our players are pretty even. Oh, as we do try to push up the ramp, the SCVs are waiting. The repair! Where's the repair? No! The SCVs that were left idle, there was no repair on the Hellion, and it goes down. Again, a bit of a slip up there from Bunny. His units were in position, but the execution was lacking. Clem is still in this. He's moving out with his Cyclone. There is, of course, a bunker on the low ground. Additional Reapers on the way. And we're looking to push up that ramp. The Cyclone supporting from the low ground as well. And every single Marine goes down. Once again, an overextension out of Bunny. It's going to get 2 of those Reapers, but Clem, he's just been trading so efficiently. He may be bleeding out units, that's true, but he's taking down Hellions, Marines, SCVs. 2 more workers go down. And that's going to be a kill, not a salvage on the bunker. Bunny is hurting. And to be fair, it's one of those things where there was a lot of pressure on Clem to get damage done just because of delayed expansion. But he's going straight into a 3rd CC. It's almost done at this point. Oh my god. Clem taking an economic lead and running with it. And yeah, now I'm that much more concerned for Bunny. I don't know if he can actually counterattack. He's going for a Liberator across the map to harass. This Liberator, it needs to kill SCVs. The Lib, it's got a lot of work to do, Papi. It's got a lot of work to do. Back at home, Bunny, he's working on his own third CC far later than his opponents. Raxes are on the way. Just like the previous game, Clem is going for a fast +1 and stim. So this is the same kind of end goal here for Clem 2 games in a row. This time he's actually getting there. He's actually getting away with his upgrades. There won't be a cancel or a denial of the stim. Not this time. As Bunny's just waiting for the opportune moment to go in with that Liberator. Meanwhile, third base already being landed on location for Clem. Bunny still on 2 bases in a mirror matchup. This is huge. And Bunny doesn't really have an army to punish. He is just strictly behind at this point. Now, of course, there are ways to come back. You know, Liberator, harass, drop play, of course. Outposition your opponents. Scan into the main. It does not see a third CC, which could be a bit of a tell that it's already landed. I would hope that Bunny can piece that together. As Liberator comes in, 3 SCVs going to be going down. Oh my god! 3 workers, no damage done, and we rotate over towards the third base location. We do get eyes on the saturation, and we're going to be able to get another couple of SCVs. 4 workers going down. Not bad, but you can see that it's not enough. Clemmy's up 10 workers compared to his opponent. Double drop comes in, denies the third base. And it's just so difficult in mirror matchups to bounce back after a deficit. But we'll see. We'll see if Bunny can do the impossible here. We'll see if he can recover over time. Third base being taken. And Clem, he's pushing on forward. He has stim. He has +1. Ahead in those upgrades. We do have quite an abundance of tanks here for Bunny. Can he hold on though? Because 2 tanks are going to be going down. Big loss there for Bunny. Losing 2 tanks and killing none. He's trying to get in position. He's trying to turtle up, trying to stabilize. The tanks, they are within range of the CC. Reinforcements, they're rallying across the map. And with said reinforcements, actually we're going to dive on the tanks. Clem, he does expose himself. There we go. Both tanks are going to go down. A pretty strong moment here for Bunny. He does fight back. Again, Clem, he just pulled back, assuming there was going to be a wraparound. He was taken advantage of. But despite that, Clem is working on a 4th CC. 2-2 is on the way. Like, honestly, Clem, he doesn't have to push in. He doesn't have to break this third. He already did well killing 2 tanks. He lost 2 tanks in the process, and yeah, he will retreat. So Bunny's surviving. This is true. He is surviving. But there's still a lot going against him. We need to move out here and now. There is a window before Clem hits. Before Clem gets 2-2. Bunny can push forward. But Clem is setting up back at home. He's got tanks, and we don't see though. Why we pan away? Big tank volleys going off on the army of Bunny. Oh my god! Taking 3 shots to the face. At the same time, Clem going for a massive backstab as well. And there's nothing at home to defend. A handful of Marines. That's not going to be enough. GG gets called, and Clem, he will take game number 2, tying up the series and forcing the ace match. GG, well played. Again, a much stronger performance there out of Clem in game number 2. And we saw a lot of missteps. A lot of missteps from Bunny, especially in the early game. Losing a couple of Hellions needlessly. Missing repairs. Some subpar micro with the SCVs. He was struggling in that early game, and Clem took advantage of him. GG, well played. We are tied up 3-3. As we mentioned before, these are all best of 2s, and it's first to 4 wins, which means we have an ace match. We are going all the way to game 7, the final game of this Team League match. And can we get some predictions in the chat? Who is going to be our ace player? Now, something to bear in mind. Because Clem and Bunny were played via replays, that does mean that one of them is unavailable. Whether it's Bunny or Clem, one of them will not be available here. So from Mystery Gaming, I feel like Shin makes sense. Shin does make a lot of sense. I do think that Team Liquid, they're in a lot of trouble if Clem isn't here. If Clem isn't here, they're going to have to rely on Skillus or Laser, and I'm not liking their chances against Shin, to be honest. I'm a little bit concerned. Again, if Clem weren't to come out. Ace match prediction: a Laser versus Shin, Clem versus Shin. Yeah, again, if Clem is here, he is the clear choice, right? If he is here, but we don't know if he's here. we don't know. We don't know. Aye. So we'll see. We'll see. As oh my god, we have our players, and Clem is not available. It is going to be Shin for Mystery Gaming and Skillus as the ace player. Oh my god. Okay, this is a rematch. Earlier today, the first best of 2 was Shin versus Skillus, and Shin took it 2-0. And Skillus is looking for revenge. I have to imagine that Skillus and the Laser, they were deliberating amongst each other. Obviously, Clem wasn't available, so Skillus and Laser, they had a bit of a discussion. Who would have the better chance against Shin on Alcyone? And I think I agree with this. I think. So Alcyone, this map, is very macro-oriented. It is a lot. It's not as easy as Radizet Station, but you can set up on 3 and then 4 bases as a Protoss pretty easily. You know, you can fortify yourself quite well on 4 bases and eventually work towards your 5th. So I think that Skillus does want to go for a more macro-oriented game. A ZVZ on this map can get very chaotic. And here we go in the bottom left-hand corner of Alcyone. We have, for Team Liquid, Skillus. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents for Mystery Gaming. It is Shin. Here we go. So the reason why I kind of like the idea of not having a ZVZ here is that because of the center goal bases, we have seen many ZVZs on this map where a player takes the goal base and things get really chaotic. You know, they go all in, they have an advantage, they put pressure on the opposing player to try and deny the goal as well, and that's going to be quite a difficult thing to do. And they might not want to take that risk, right? A Laser may not want to take that risk because it's a best of 1, only 1 game, and to risk it all on a ZVZ on this map, it's, yeah, I understand the logic of not wanting to have that. So instead, we have a ZVP, and oh boy, we'll see if Skillus can make up for his previous losses. We'll see if he can keep up with Shin. For now, Hatch Gas Pool. Hatch Gas Pool out of our Zerg player, very standard opener. It looks like Skillus, he wasn't able to deny the natural base. Again, the rush distance by ground is a little bit longer on this map. It's a longer map, a lot of bases to take, and again, very well fortified, very difficult to break into the 3rd and even the 4th base on this map, just because of the points of elevation, just because of the high ground, and also if you mine through the mineral patches and you expand on the right-hand side of the map, it's just very difficult to punish that base as well. Now, when it comes to macro PVZ here for Skillus, the previous 2 games that we saw, they were getting into the mid game, getting into the late game even. We saw a lot of Lurker play, a lot of Hydra Lurker Viper out of Shin, and we saw Skillus really avoid Sky Toss, which was odd. It was especially on Radisson Station, it was very odd. Very odd to see Skillus double down on a ground toss army, even after in game 1. I didn't blame him. In game 1, remember, Shin was able to get away with lurkers unscouted, and Skillous had no idea. Skillous, he didn't scout the lurkers until they were already in his face, and by that point it was too late. He threw down a reactive Stargate and a reactive Fleet Beacon, and he couldn't get into Skytos, and he just died before he could really get going. In game 2 on Radisson Station, Skillous had plenty of time. He went toe-to-toe with the lurkers. There were a lot of skirmishes in the center of the map, and Skillous refused to work up towards Skytos. So I am a little bit concerned in that respect. It does seem like Skillous has been having a hard time against Shin's army compositions and his playstyle, but he has had time to think it over. He has had a lot of time to go over the replays, ruminate over the series, come up with a better game plan, and we'll see what all of that has, how that's all kind of borne fruit. We'll see if Skillous has been able to adapt over the course of the past couple of hours and is now ready for another game. We shall see. And so now it's going to be a Stargate opener into an Oracle. We have a second Oracle on the way. Everything's looking normal. Everything's looking as it should. Oracle going to be moving out across the map. Shin back at home is just taking his third base, droning, nothing too crazy. He hasn't taken additional gases. He hasn't stayed in gas, so no fast Evo chamber, no fast upgrades, no fast lair. And we're able to keep up here with the Oracle, even getting a bit of hull damage. No worker kills yet. Really good movement here from Shin. Really solid defense so far. Overlord dips in, confirms the lack of additional units being made, and we have a Twilight Council follow-up. Hello, Diva. Este Diva. We have our follow-up. It's going to be a Twilight Council and a Forge. This is a very standard follow-up. This should be for +1 and Blink. This could also be for Charge, which would take us in a very different direction. But for now, it's going to be +1 and Blink from Skillous. Oh, and the Oracle comes back in, actually making up for its lack of damage earlier. 5 workers go down. Shin being pulled apart. The 2 Oracles, they work together here, distracting those queens. Not too bad. Oh, as we are getting into that lair, around a 5-minute lair timing. It is lined up with the Roach Warren. This is to get into Roach speed as soon as the Roach Warren is done. So everything's looking normal as we are going to be droning. Now, what is interesting is that we don't have an Evo chamber. Typically, we would have one by now, and we would be working on +1. +1 range or +1 melee. In this case, I would say range. As more workers are going down, I am curious as to the reasoning for this. I'm curious if Shin is going to keep droning. For now, we have around 60 workers. 66 is going to be 3-base saturation. We are working towards a 4th base. I'm curious if we're going to be saturating the 4th or if we only use it for larva. But there it is. There's the Evo chamber. It is a delayed Evo chamber for Shin, but an Evo chamber nonetheless. So Shin is looking to go for a longer game. He's not going for an all-in. Otherwise, why start the Evo chamber? So we are slowly piecing it together. Meanwhile, Skillous is going to be vying for map control. Adepts a shade into the natural. The Lings are able to keep up though, and they get 1 drone. Only a single drone. As Shin keeps up, he cleans it up as well. Behind this, we already see Skillous teching. He throws down not a second robo, but he will throw down a robotics bay to work towards Colossus or Disruptors. Single robo production. This is very similar to Game 1. Game 1, we saw only a single robo and Colossus being produced 1 at a time on Golden Aura. Meanwhile, Shin, a bit of an old school composition, he's going Ling Bane Roach Ravager with +1 melee. Stasis Trap is going to get triggered, and the gold base is going to be safe and sound. Does take a lot of hits, but will survive. Oh, Transfuse barely keeping it alive as well. But yeah, Ling Bane Roach Ravager, this kind of fell off this patch just because of the nerf to the Baneling, just because of the change to +2. The +2 timing from the Zerg player is that much weaker. And in the absence of Ling Bane Roach Ravager, we've just been seeing a lot more Roach Ravager or even just Hydra Ling instead. So really interesting to see Shin embrace this. As, Skillous is taking a risk. He hasn't been expanding towards the right-hand side. He takes the linear 3rd base instead, and he is taking the Rich Festing Gas Geyser as a 4th. Okay. do have my attention. No, Biles will not connect. Quick moves are out of skills, avoiding disaster. Colossi on the way, send them a lance. And Shin is in the dark. Now, what I will say about this base layout here from Skilless is that these bases are more exposed. Yeah, there we go. Shin does get eyes on them. Does see the fourth base of Skilless. And we'll see if Skilless can get away with that base. Again, very peculiar expansion pattern here from Skilless. As that is an infestation mid on the way, so Shin, he is not, once again, he's not going to be too committed. He's going to be harassing, yes, he's poking, prodding, whatever he can. Ooh. Massive blink forward does take down some of the Ravagers. Bathing speed is not done. Shin has to respect this army, he has to back off. Bleeding out a lot of units. Before turning back around, going for the Colossus. Good juggling at his Skilless, he will hold on at the same time. Bathing speed kicks in, and we're going straight for the mineral line. No reaction! No! Probes are going to be going down. 13, the entire 20 workers, the entire mineral line does fall. And yeah, again, we were talking about it, but these bases are much more exposed, much more vulnerable. Shin does take advantage of them. And Skilless's economy is crippled. Shin, he's already droned up to 80, 84 at this point. We're done droning. We can focus on nothing but army production. And Skilless likewise is not turning back. As Shin, he goes for a big roach run by here. He slips into the natural base. And he will force Skilless to turn back around. Ay. Yeah, drones are going down. Pylons are just being depowered, or gateways are being depowered as pylons fall. We even get roaches into the main, and Skilless is all in. There's no turning back from this. Skilless, one way or another, the game will end. He has to commit. He recalls. Oh my god. A rough moment to recall, because we get back home, we're going to be able to deal with these roaches, but we've already lost 18 probes. We are down to less than half the worker count of the Zerg. Ay. And we're being pulled apart, bearing in mind that recall is now on cooldown, so we're able to harass, hit the fourth base. Shield battery goes down. And Shin, he gets away with his Hive. Hive is done at this point. I believe we don't have any Vipers, and I don't think... Oh, no, sorry, never mind. We have 2 Vipers on the way. Don't have any yet. We don't have a Lurker Den yet either. We're just embracing Lingbane Roach Ravager into Viper. This is an army that's designed to just swarm your opponent. The rocks haven't been knocked down, so it is going to be a difficult engage for Shin. He does go for a Ling counterattack, getting on that fourth once again. The Vipers will help though. Oh, that is a +1 air armor on the way. I think that may be a misclick from Skilless, but it is in production. About Protoss, and here we go. Shin just waiting for the army to overextend, pushing onto creep. And we're going to chase it all the way down. The Vipers, they want those Colossi. They get 2. 2 Colossi will get yoinked. And they both go down instantly. Oh, never mind. Only 1 did. The juggling. The clutch War Prism Micro will save 1 a little bit longer, but eventually will go down. We crash into the army. GG gets called, and Shin will take the game. He will take the series. And, oh, let's... This is the first win for Mystery Gaming. GG, well played. Team Liquid, they're one of the stronger teams. Team Liquid, they are on top of the standings. Not number 1, but I think they're top 3 or top 4. They are one of the best here in this team league. And Mystery Gaming, they get their first win. GG. GG, well played. Ragnarok, Shin, very happy with that as well. I was talking about it before, but it did feel like Shin was struggling over the course of this season, but he has found his footing. He leads the charge. He takes the win in the end, and we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we will have Onside versus the Starving Camels. See you soon.
看起来很扎实。
拆开呗。
我们先看这个，这个就是鸭肠，就这个应该是一包倒出来就大概就是这么多。
对，这个量。
这个很好吃，因为我已经吃过了。
辣不辣？
不辣，香的一逼。
有那么好吃吗？你再
你试一口。鸭肠真的蛮好吃的，鸭肠。
我们来猜一下这个大骨头啊，兄弟们。我先猜我的，
你猜啊？
这个是暴走牛骨，
是个新产品，我也没试过，我也没见过。
我靠，感觉
我靠
有点东西啊。
这个怎么吃啊？
它这个骨头我看一下，大概有2块，我先拆开来一块试试看啊。
来一个。
来，
哇，那么大，
很大，3块有3块，
好扎实啊！
好像不是很大的样子。
不辣，牛的味道很纯正。
水，
麻辣吗？
我靠！
不是你至于吗？说出你的感受。
很好吃，但是有点辣，多少有点辣。
我建议兄弟买过来啊，就不要用筷子了，直接手拿着，直接啃，爽的一
那
逼。
吃真蛮好吃的。
它有那种四川的那种辣味的感觉，然后有麻的感觉，特别是有麻的感觉。
很麻好吗？这个
我很久没有吃到纯正的这种四川的麻的感觉了。这个牛骨有，而且很入味，
好辣，
很爽。
但是很好吃啊！就你虽然有点辣，但是你吃完就想
再吃，
对。
我吃一口想再吃，真的好吃。
它这个牛肉啊，这肉里面带筋的，
对，就是一块一块的牛肉嘛。
对，这个味道可以。
我反正是蛮推荐这个牛肉的。这个牛肉虽然不那么容易吃，你不是辣吗？辣你还吃，越辣越想吃，越吃越辣，然后就拼命喝水。这个牛肉我可以推荐一下，大家双十一可以尝试一下，很爽。多少钱呢？我觉得双十一大家可以去看一看这个店铺的首页啊，这里店铺首页它有活动。如果是不能吃辣的兄弟呢，可以看看它的状态，就是比较真实的反应。
不是这样，就
又麻又辣，
就是第一口下去，我开始还以为没什么
啊，
就我咬了一大口，然后突然一下子就先是麻了完之后是后面是辣，
就爆开了。
啊，对，就是这种感觉。不能吃辣的兄弟，千万要忍住啊，不要挑战自己。
反正整体来说，我很久没有吃到这么纯正的四川的麻辣的味道。这个东西又麻又辣。好，我们接下来看我们的第二个产品，第二个产品叫多肉一把骨，这个看起来有点夸张啊。这怎么吃啊？直接手呀！
妈的，
对不对？寝室里面如果2兄弟买了，一人1根，拿着就啃，这个是不是也有点太夸张了？这个不辣，肉很多，你干嘛不辣呀？咬呀，兄弟！你就咬了一点点，你看我这个真不辣，这个5香的。哎呀，你就咬一口，你信我，这里没有肉，你要咬这里面全是肉。你看，兄弟来看，这里面全是肉，一块一块的，你多咬点呀，咬一大块呀。
不，我感觉刚才那个吃有点伤，我感觉这个也有点辣。
这个真不辣，但是这个的肉呢，比这个牛骨头要稍微多一点啊。牛骨头的肉没有这个那么扎实，这个一口下去，那个感觉就是满足，真的好吃。我觉得今天晚上我都不用吃饭了。这肉也太多了。
真的，我总结一下，这个如果让我选的话，我还是会选这个牛骨。为什么呢？因为这个牛骨刚才那个味道太浓烈了，导致我现在吃这个猪骨其实就没有那么浓的味道了，就感觉就这个牛骨太够味了。
是这样的，我来总结一下，我作为一个四川人，我来给大家总结，这个猪骨是5香的，
麻辣的。
就是四川的5香，5香也有辣味，你别管，反正就是在四川，这个就是5香的味道。如果不是特别能吃辣的观众，而且你想有那种大口吃肉、大口喝酒的感觉的观众，买猪没有问题。这个牛骨 属于四川的这种麻辣，很入味，吃进去之后整个味道爆开，特别是麻这个味道很正宗啊，四川的这种麻的味道特别正宗，辣也不辣的。你不要听他说的，他是不能吃辣的啊，不能吃辣的，当然我也不建议你买这种牛骨。但是呢，如果你稍微能吃一点点辣，你喜欢四川的麻辣，可以尝试一下牛骨和这个猪骨，包括鸭肠。鸭肠如果你想，比如说吃饭的时候你开一包吃鸭肠也不错。反正双11我们都会搞活动嘛。
这个鸭肠我觉得泡面应该不错。
这个一定要喝酒，我跟你说，大口吃肉，大口喝那个米酒，
对，
感觉真的到位。好了，那今天我们就介绍到这里。这个是淘宝店新上的一个新品，大家如果有兴趣的玩家，想吃这种大口吃肉、大口喝酒的这种感觉的这种玩家的话，你可以到这个双11啊，到我们淘宝店来看一看。淘宝店首页肯定是有这个价格的，双11有优惠啊！感谢大家。我们最后说一下我们淘宝店的这个地址：scboy.淘宝.com，有兴趣的玩家可以来啊。
这个需要说吗？
好，再见，
拜拜。
And welcome back, everyone. We just wrapped up with our previous series with Team Liquid versus Mystery Gaming, where Mystery Gaming, they got their first win of the season. A momentous occasion, momentous moment there for our players. Congratulations to, of course, Mystery Gaming, and to, of course, Team Liquid as well for fighting their hearts out and going all the way to the ace match. But now we are here with our second Team League match of the night. It is Onside versus the Starving Camels, SSLT. And we are going to be kicking things off with a ZVZ between Solar and Tudming. Here we go. Of course, Solar on a bit of an upswing has been getting some damn good results recently, and we'll see if he can keep it up as Tudming is going to be coming in as the underdog. That's typically how these series go with the Starving Camels. The Camels, they are the dark horses, the dark camels, if you will, and despite that, they're able to cause some insane upsets. At least they have been able to do so in the past. Can they do so again? We're here to find out. In the bottom right-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have for Onside Gaming, it is Solar. And sporting in the top left, we have for the Starving Camels, it is Tudming. If you're in the chat, you have, I believe, 30 seconds or so. You have a little bit of time to place your bets in the chat. Predictions are open for a little bit longer, so do pick wisely here as we get into this ZVZ, and we'll see how explosive we get. So far, nothing too crazy. So far, hatch gas pool openers are upon us here. Very standard stuff from both Solar and from Tudming. Despite us loading into Golden Aura, we have no aggression yet, and Golden Aura is going to be an interesting one for ZVZ. I'll be honest, I actually haven't casted too many ZVZs this season. This new map pool, actually, I think I've been avoiding them intentionally, but I'm ready to embrace them once again. Here we go. A big shout out to the sponsors, of course, to Doyu, Honkai Star, Taido, and Autofool as well. Big shout outs. Without these lovely sponsors, we just wouldn't have WTL, we wouldn't have Kung Fu Cup. Without these sponsors, I would be asleep right now. Yeah. Actually, that's not true. Without these sponsors, we would just be co-streaming ESL Masters winter. So, yeah, it's just, you know what? It's just allowing us to have some more variety here and just to have some more casting, of course. Some amazing tournaments for the players, for the viewers, for the casters. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So much love to the sponsors as we are just getting into this. And so far, stay the builds. Hatch gas pool from Solar and Tudming. Mentioned it before, and we're just confirming that here. Now, Golden Aura, because of the setup, you can be a little bit more aggressive. I want to say that you can get away with even gasless openers or 15-15s into 2-base Roach. I wouldn't be opposed to that on Golden Aura, but that's not what we're seeing here. as we are just building ourselves up. Link speed is on the way. Ooh, Tudming, he does delay Link speed by going for an Evo chamber instead. My oh my. Let's go. Okay, so this is looking like a +1. No, I was about to say a +1 melee Link Flood, but that is +1 Carapace instead. Interesting choice. So this is gonna be there's gonna be layers to this build of Tudming. It's gonna be fast 1-1 essentially. Fast +1 Carapace. It's gonna be leading into a faster +1, I imagine, range, because Tudming has not gone into Link speed. He doesn't have the gas for it, not at the moment. But this should be 2-base Roach play from Tudming. We'll see if he does end up walling off or if he tries to take a third. As Solar is getting into his own wall, third base is on the way for our blue Zerg player. Link speed is in production. Okay, so we're not skipping Link speed. Not yet, at least. As Solar goes into the main base, trying to get a read on what exactly is going on. There's that Roach Warren as well. I mentioned before that this faster +1 Carapace upgrade, I believe, is going to be leading into a second upgrade. Meanwhile, Solar, he's going for a much more standard all-in variation. The Link gets in. The Link scouts everything, by the way. Oh my god. Solar is aware of what's going on. He's aware that his opponent will have an upgrade advantage, but I don't think Solar cares. What I was getting at with Solar's build is he's also going for +1 Carapace, but this is a different variation. He's going for Roaches. Solar is going for a Ling Roach all-in. This has been very popular. He gets surrounded on a Queen! A Queen goes down. Ay, ay, ay. Disastrous start for Tudming. As Solar should soon be building up his Roach army and soon be pushing across the map. Meanwhile, Tudming likewise is also committed. Now, what's interesting about this eventual fight is that Tudming will be ahead in upgrades, and there will be a window where he has +1 Carapace and his opponent doesn't. So Solar, he has to take a more defensive position here back at home. And there it is. We spoke about how Tudming's build leads into there's layers of upgrades coming. We have +1 Carapace, and as we mentioned before, there's +1 range on the way, as to be expected. It's how this build does work. It leads into, again, a Ling Roach all-in. The Lings are moving out first, but we have plenty to defend. Solar is in position. And Solar, interesting, he actually hasn't been making Roaches. He's been droning. Okay. Very interesting choice. I mean, I'm pretty sure Solar, he's adapting to what Tudming is up to, and of course he's aware that his upgrades are going to be far later than his opponents. So yeah, I'm just a little bit in shock, or a little bit surprised that Solar, he isn't just committing here to Roaches earlier on. He's just droning. And keeping up with the Ling army of his opponents, able to shut it down. +1 Carapace kicks in. +1 range on the way for both players. Now, Tudming is going to hit a stronger timing. He is, there we go, Roaches have been confirmed. And Solar, he catches the Lings. Oh god, a lot of Lings are going down. Rough movement there from Tudming. This is going to be a better fight for our red Zerg player though, because the Roaches are pushing in, but they get surrounded. Expensive losses here for Tudming. This should not have happened. The Lings were supposed to buffer, but the Roaches do go down, and Solar, he's getting out of hand already with just pure Ling. Who needs Roaches? I mean, Roaches, they're good, and Solar could use some of them as well, but yeah, just snowballing out of control. I just didn't think that engagement would go as well as it did for Solar, and he even gets on top of another Roach. And another. More Roaches, more Queens going down. Tudming's bleeding out far too much. Back at home, Solar, he has a worker lead, and finally, he's getting into his own Roach production. You can see here we have a pretty even trade with Lings. 11 Roaches went down, a Queen as well. Brutal loss for Tudming. And this is what Solar has been building up towards. Roach speed. Just waiting a couple of seconds here for Roach speed to kick in. And then Solar can push. Once again, so persistent with his scouting. Solar going in, just making sure that no additional gases have been taken. There's no Spire, for example. Spire could catch him off guard. And there we go. We have Tudming trying to push in towards the third base. At the same time, he goes for a Ling run by. Slips into the main base. I think he may get a queen. Yeah, it looks like he did kill the queen in the main, but there are plenty of reinforcements back at him to deal with those Lings. And Solar, he's not turning back around. Not anymore. He is committed. And pushing up this ramp is going to be difficult. We are pushing into a concave. Upgrades are even. We do see Tudming actually gaining a bit of momentum here. And Solar, he has to respect it. He has to back off, wait for reinforcements. The Ravagers are being focused down. But Tudming's also overextending. Tudming, he may have gotten the Ravagers, but he does overextend. Pushes a little bit too far off of creep, and now Solar can keep on going. Tudming is now in some trouble. He does have the defensive advantage. More reinforcements are coming out. Tudming, can he hold? He's barely forcing this back. Tudming, he is holding on. +2 range on the way for Solar, though. And he's droning. Looks like he has recognized that maybe he can't quite kill Tudming. Again, the ramp and the concave is just a little bit too good. Too much to overcome. So Solar, he backs off. He backs off, he drones, he takes a 4th base, working on +2. Tunneling Claw, Burrow as well. There's no rush. Like, Solar, he's ahead economically. Pretty far ahead, actually. But is he taking too much? Because Tudming is all in. He hasn't made a worker in a long time. He's cutting workers at 46. And he's pushing. Alas, down in army supply. Forcing back the army, getting some extra hits in. And Solar, he does have the better concave. We're trying to break on through. We're trying to break the front lines here, but Solar, he has reinforcements trickling in as well. And Solar will shut down this army. Tudming just doesn't have enough. The army supplies, they were relatively close earlier, but now it's just, yeah, getting a bit out of hand, getting out of control. Tudming racing back home with whatever he has left. And Solar, he avoids the ramp this time, goes straight for the 4th. And he will force a cancel. And he can take a fight. He can take a fight. The Ravager once again gets focused down. Tudming has been so on point when it comes to sniping those Ravagers, but it's a numbers game. And oh my god! Solar, calm down, Papi. Calm down. There was detection available. But yeah, Solar, he's having fun. He's enjoying himself. He's shocking on forward here. I mean, being borrowed does mean that he has... Yeah. He does regenerate that HP. GG gets called. And Solar will take game number 1. Whew. Again, in a pretty dominant performance. I say dominant. There were moments where Tudming had certain advantages in a way, but Solar, he was so on point with his scouting. His Ling counterattack got a surprising amount of damage done, getting 11 roach kills. It was crazy. It was insane how much that Ling counterattack did. And Tudming was behind from that moment, it felt. He was unable to really get into the swing of things. And yeah, Solar takes game 1. GG, well played. And now we're getting ready for game number 2. It's going to be Tudming's map of choice, and we are going to Oceanborn. Okay. Oceanborn is coming up next. Solar's place always looks so cozy. And this is, I mean, now there's a new mushroom. Where did the mushroom come from? It's a big mushroom behind him. Also, does he have a dog or a cat? I haven't seen Solar's pets before, but there is a little, it's like a little nest.
I think Solar has 1 or 2 dogs because we've seen them in the camp before.
Okay. We're being told apparently 2 doggos, 2 doggos. Let's go. Power of the doggo. It's a little bit much. It's a little bit much to overcome. And yeah, we'll see if Tudming can bring it back here on Oceanborn, as spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our blue Zerg player for onside. It is Solar. And in the top left, we have his opponent for the Starving Camels, Tudming. Let's go. I feel like we need more doggo cam. Like every now and then we get like a cat in the background of someone's camera. Where are the doggos? Like, I mean, just like sitting there, like chilling, watching their opponents. Oh, we're looking at the fish. There are fish. Yeah. As once again, we have hatch first builds here from our opponents. It should be hatch cast bull out of both Solar and Tudming. Not really looking too out of the norm. We saw that in the early game of game 1, Tudming did go for a fast Evo chamber, so we'll keep our eye out for that, but I doubt that we're going to be seeing that 2 games in a row. I doubt that we're going to be seeing Tudming whip that out a second time here in this series. We're going to need to do something a little bit different. For now, again, standard openers, standard builds to begin with. The question becomes, do we double down and get into 2-base Roach? Do we go up to 3-base Saturation? Oceanborn is a map where you can be quite heavily fortified on 3 bases. Taking the 4th is a little bit more difficult, but 3 bases is, again, far more standard. I just realized the camel's upside down. The camel's upside down, Poppy. Not like this. But yeah, just because of how heavily fortified you can be on 3 bases, I expect to see some standard play, some more macro-based openers here. But we'll see. We'll see if if anyone decides to wall off and stay on 2 bases a little bit longer. As Overlords are moving out, Ling speed is on the way, at least for Solar. We should be seeing it from Tudming, but we're not. And this should be for a reason. Yeah, we're pointing it out. No Ling speed here from Tudming. I guess we're throwing down another Evo chamber. Or we could be waiting for the Queen, and we could be going for a lair first and going 2 base. I'm feeling 2 base play at this point. As Solar is taking his 3rd base on location. There it is. Tudming does start the lair. So he was just waiting for the Queen to finish. We're going into 2 base lair. This is going to be 2 base Roach overall. Here we go. So we've kind of taken our roles here. Soul's going to be the defender. Tudming is going to be the aggressor instead. So there's that wall off. Roach Warren is thrown down. Now, there are different variations of this. We could try and go for a Nidus all in. That is possible. But I expect this lair just to be for Roach speed. I don't expect this to be too fancy with Nidus, or I don't expect us to take additional gases and go 2-base Spire, for example. Ooh, meanwhile, it looks like the lair was scouted. Uh-oh. Solar able to get a quick scout on that lair. Back at home, he's droning, throwing down his own Roach Warren. He recognizes, of course, that the Baneling Nest has been skipped, so he doesn't get his own Baneling Nest. There's no need to. No need for Banelings in this scenario. Oh no, the Queens, they move out of position. The Lings, they flood in immediately. Getting a full scout of the main base, getting even a drone as well, confirming the lack of gases. And Tudming, he's already building up his Roach count. Interesting. Okay, there we go. Tudming is now droning. I feel like we need to drone. We need some workers, man. We need some workers. As Solar's just building up towards a Ling Roach army. This could just be Ling Ravager as well from Solar. +1 carapace is on the way. And yeah, Soul is able to enjoy an economic lead. Back at home, Tudming just now taking his 3rd. Now, the 3rd base is a big moment here. This tells us that Tudming actually isn't going for an all-in. He's getting fast Roach speed and fast +1 range. That is true. But from here, he can drone and get into +2. And hit a +2 timing instead. We'll see if that's actually going to occur here. Yep, there we go. We have another Evo chamber from Tudming. He is moving out with his Roaches. He has a creep highway set up as well. But you can see here that he's just posturing. Like he's basically just faking out to move out. Faking a push while he does return back home. There, the 2nd Evo chamber has been spotted. And that should be a tell for Solar to just drone. That tells us that Tudming wants to hit a 2-1 timing with +2 and +1 carapace. And Soul's actually going for his own counterattack. Solar, he's actually going to be moving out here. I don't see the production tab, so I don't know if he's actually reinforcing. I'm a little bit in the dark as to what's happening there. And yeah, there we go. He is backing off. And he did just make a wave of drones. So Solar, he is just taking advantage of Tudming here by just droning, saturating his bases, lair on the way, soon to be roach speed. Meanwhile, something to take note of, Tudming hasn't been droning. I assumed he would with that Evo Chamber, and the Evo Chamber, all that means at the moment is that Tudming, he's waiting for his upgrades, but he is not droning. He is only making nothing but roaches. You can see here, Solar, he scouts. He sees the lack of saturation, only 2 drones at the third base. Solar now knows, and Tudming has to pull the trigger. He's going across the map, and Solar, has he been caught with his pants down? Is this going to be too much? Tudming is going to be pushing on forward. We are going to be even in upgrades. +1 range against +1 carry base. The boys, they have to be pulled. Solar in a bit of trouble. But last, he can afford to lose drones. He is far ahead in workers. Oh no, and we get a snipe on the hatchery. Tudming loses a base. That much less larva to work with as well. The Lings, they get into the main. They dive on the queen. That much less injects to work with as well. And Tudming, he races back home. Now, his upgrades are about to kick in. But again, at this point, he's just... I mean, he was already going to be all in. He's that much more committed here. It's all or nothing for Tudming. And Solar has had enough time to react, to respond, and to build up his own army. He's got a massive amount of Roach Ravager pushing on forward. Tudming does have the upgrade advantage. Solar, he has the concave. He has the numbers on his side as well. He's barely breaking through. Does take a bow to the face. He is forcing back Tudming, and you can see that it's just taking far too long for Tudming to reinforce. The roaches are going down, and Solar, he is going to shut down this army, going for his own big counterattack. And Tudming has run out of steam. He's on 41 workers compared to the 59 of Solar. There's nothing left here for Tudming. A handful of roaches that are trickling in. No. They're even trickling into the army. And yeah, Solar, he knows how far ahead he is. He's containing Tudming to 2 bases. Forcing him to fight, forcing him to engage. GG gets called, and Solar will take the 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Solar, he will take the series in the end. A very strong start for Onside Gaming. Again, Solar was the favorite player. He was the favorite player coming into this. But the rest of these best of 2s are going to be a little bit closer, I feel. Up next, after a short break, we have Ryung versus Silky. Let's go. See you soon. When is ESL Masters America scheduled to start? 3 hours. 3 hours time. I think that's too little. I don't think I would have to sleep for 2 hours. I would have to sleep for 2 hours and then wake up in time for ESL Masters Americas. I don't know. I don't think I can trust myself. I don't think I can trust myself to sleep for only 2 hours and not sleep in. So if you're interested, if you want some more content, we may be live in 3 hours with ESL Masters coverage. But if not, ESL Masters is still ongoing. You know, it's still ongoing. It's still very much so underway. They're covering the European region at the moment, so you can check that out. And if you don't see us co-streaming the Americas region, then you will see us in 9 hours casting the Tenacious Turtle Tussle. So content nonetheless. So look forward to it. Otherwise, thank you so much everyone for tuning in. You can follow us on all the socials. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have Discord. Twitch chat's getting worried. Sleep. I mean, sleep is nice. Sleep is really good, but at the same time, we have the content, but we have to cast. We have to we have to cast it all. But we have to cast it all. Aye. Guys, GG, well played. Again, you can follow us on all the social media if you wish. Otherwise, you can follow myself at light_VIP. I stream whenever I can, whenever I'm not casting, whenever I'm not sleeping. I try and stream. And yeah, with that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. We'll see you guys tomorrow for at least the Tenacious Turtle Tussle in 9 hours' time. Until then, hasta luego. See you soon.